Okay, so today what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to make the plaster part of your milkshake. So this one obviously isn't painted yet, but it's ready to be painted. What you will need to make your milkshake with the ice cream coming out of the top and the straw is you will need a cup, you'll need a straw, and you'll need the plaster I gave you, you'll need some masking tape, you'll need the bowl and some warm water, and last but not least, some newspaper. Okay, so step one is we're going to put some newspaper in this cup just to give it some weight so it doesn't tip over. And then this part is also made from balled up newspaper. So I'm going to take some newspaper and stuff it in the cup so it doesn't tip over from the weight of the ice cream on top. And then I'm going to stop right there, and I'm actually going to peel some tape right now and put it at my workspace so it's already cut for me, so that when I put this ball of newspaper on the top, I can hold it down with one hand and tape it with the other hand. Otherwise, as soon as you let go of it, then the newspaper comes flying out. Okay, so you don't need a whole piece of newspaper, that'll be a half a piece of newspaper. And there's kind of a special technique that I do when I try to do this. So I go to the middle of the paper. Let me scoot this out of the way. And then I'm just kind of putting the newspaper under itself. Okay, if you can see that I'm tucking the newspaper under itself to kind of make a dome like that. Okay? And then that will get put in here. Just like that. And this is why I wanted you to tear your tape first, because now you can hold this with one hand and take your tape and tape it in place the way that you want it to be. Tuck it in there and tape it into place. Okay. All right. Okay, so if you want your ice cream to be, if you want more ice cream, then you would just make a bigger dome, okay? Now, you do need to stick your straw in wherever you want it to be, because we're going to plaster that straw right in place. So wherever you want it to be, you can stick it in. Mine's getting stuck on this piece of newspaper here, so I might find a different place, because I wanted it to not stick out quite that far. Okay, so now I'm ready to plaster my milkshake. So I'm going to test my water. It is not warm, so you must have warm water. If you don't have warm water, it won't activate the plaster and your project won't work. So you need to make sure you have warm water, and you don't need that much. I just filled the bowl up to like where my fingernail is, and that's enough, because you do not want to empty this down the drain. Plaster is not good for your drain, so you're just going to want to throw the whole bowl and everything away. So what you want to do, I want you to use this bowl because it has this nice little lip on it. So when you put your plaster in and you pull it out along the lip, it gets rid of all of the extra water. Okay, and then you'll lay it on your milkshake and smooth it down. So you take another piece, drag it over the edge, lay it on your milkshake, and smooth it down. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're really careful about smoothing down your plaster so that all of those holes get covered up. That's good craftsmanship. When you get to the straw, you're going to want to make sure that you plaster right around that straw, because then your plaster will help hold your straw in place. So I put the plaster right up next to the straw. Okay, and then I'm going to continue around, make sure the straw is going the way I want it to. And I'm going to dip my plaster in, pull it along the edge to get rid of the extra water, and then just go right around that straw. Okay, so you will continue doing this until your milkshake is covered with plaster. You want the top part, the newspaper, covered with plaster, and you want the cup covered with plaster. Now, you don't need to do the bottom if you don't want to. You can. Let's see, did I? No, I did not. You don't have to do the bottom. I don't think there's any reason, but if you want to, you can. But make sure that you do the top. That's where you're going to paint. You're going to paint, well, you're going to paint the ice cream and you're going to paint the cup. So you'll have to think about what flavor of ice cream that you want, and that's the color of paint that you'll use in your milkshake, what flavor ice cream you want to put in your milkshake. So when you're ready to paint, well, let me backtrack a tiny bit. So you'll cover your whole milkshake with plaster. It will take about 15 minutes until it's dry enough that it won't break if you pick it up, but it needs to dry for at least a day before you paint it. So you'll do the plastering one day, and then we'll do the painting another day. And I'll talk to you about the painting when you zoom into class. But for the painting, you can use any kind of paint that you have at home, but not watercolor. That's not really heavy enough or to cover this well enough. So what I use, or what we use when we're painting our food sculptures, is we'll use this acrylic paint that you can just buy at Walmart. It's, I think, oh, I know, it's like 50 cents a bottle. And, oop, that piece is icky. So I think I sent home white paint and brown paint because that would work for chocolate or vanilla. If you want a different color of paint, you can either, use what you have at home, or you can email me and tell me what colors you want, and I can put some outside for you, or you can just go to Walmart and pick the colors that you want and use those colors. So you will be done when your cup is covered with plaster. So it will look like this, okay? All right, so this one's finished. This was a work in progress. All right, friends, so when you're ready to paint, we'll talk about that in class. You'll paint your cup however you want it to be painted. You'll paint your ice cream part, whatever flavor of ice cream that you want, and then we'll probably drip maybe some brown to make some syrup coming out of it. Maybe you want to make a cherry for the top. And by the way, let's talk about that. So if you want to make a cherry for the top, you can just take a piece of plaster and you can roll it into a ball like I'm doing here. These are actually a couple of old pieces that were a little crackly that I didn't think were going to work. So I'm just going to roll them into a ball, and I will just put that on the top to be the cherry. Okay? All right, friends, so I hope you're enjoying this milkshake project, and the next step will be to paint it. All right, see you later.